Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news now, folks. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns, a team that's been making headlines lately, not just for their on-field performances, but also for some of the off-field issues that have been raising eyebrows among fans and analysts alike. And no, I'm not just talking about the latest game or a new signing. We're diving into something that could have serious consequences for the team's future, especially as they gear up for what could be a very promising season. And if you're a Browns fan, this is exactly the kind of deep dive you want to hear because it touches on the core of what makes this team tick, both good and bad. Let's start with arguably the most dominant player on this roster, Myles Garrett. There's no doubt about it, Garrett is a game changer on the defensive line. Many consider him the best pass rusher in the entire league, and there's a strong case for him being a future first-ballot Hall of Famer. His ability to disrupt the opponent's backfield with relentless speed, power, and technique is truly a sight to behold. When he's on the field, offenses have to change their entire game plan just to try to contain him. He's a once-in-a-generation talent, no question about it. But as talented as Garrett is, there's always been this lingering question about his leadership and accountability off the field, and that's what we're going to focus on today because it's becoming a major talking point. Recently, Garrett found himself at the center of controversy once again, and it's something that has Browns fans worried. You see, Garrett was asked about yet another speeding incident, something that's been an ongoing concern for the team and the fan base. Instead of addressing it head-on or showing some accountability, Garrett chose to keep his distance. When Fred Greetham from Cleveland.com asked him about the speeding ticket, Garrett responded by saying, "I try to keep my personal life personal. I'd rather talk about things more related to the team and what we're trying to accomplish." And that's where the problem lies. Instead of taking responsibility, he sidestepped the issue, which, frankly, only fuels speculation and narratives that don't do any favors for the team or his reputation. Now, let's be honest here. Myles Garrett is an incredible player, one of the best in the league, and he's got a bright future ahead. No one doubts his talent, but talent alone isn't enough when you're trying to build a championship team. Leadership, accountability, setting a good example. These qualities matter just as much, if not more, especially when you've been handed a contract that makes you one of the highest-paid players in the league. The Browns invested heavily in Garrett this offseason, giving him what can only be described as generational wealth. That kind of investment comes with expectations, not just about what he does on the field, but also about how he conducts himself off it. Because let's face it, Cleveland has had its fair share of off-field issues with players over the years. The team has tried to foster a culture of accountability and professionalism, but it's a work in progress. When a player like Garrett, who is supposed to be a leader, refuses to address questions about his off-field behavior, it creates a gap between him and his teammates, the coaching staff, and the fan base. It's not just about the speeding incident, it's about the message it sends. When you're a star and you don't take responsibility, it can undermine the team's efforts to create a culture of accountability. And this is where the Browns need to step up. They've already shown they're willing to pay top dollar for Garrett because they see his potential to be the cornerstone of their defense for years to come. But with that investment comes a responsibility, not just to perform on Sundays, but to represent the team positively off the field. Players are role models, whether they like it or not, and their actions reach beyond just the game. The team's image, their reputation, and even their chances of winning can be affected by how players handle these kinds of situations. Now, I want to point out that Garrett has the talent to be one of the all-time greats. There's no denying that. But greatness also involves consistency, leadership, and being a positive influence. If you look at the history of NFL greats, many of them became legends not only because of what they did on the field, but also because of their leadership qualities. Think about guys like JJ Watt or Aaron Donald, players who, aside from their dominance, have also been leaders in their locker rooms. Garrett has the potential to be that kind of leader, but he needs to show that he's willing to grow in that area. This offseason, the Browns have made clear they're aiming for a deep playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl appearance. The roster is talented enough, especially on defense, to make that happen. Garrett is a big part of that equation. But for the team to reach that next level, everyone, especially the stars, needs to buy in completely on and off the field. He's got to be the kind of player who not only wrecks offensive lines but also sets an example for his teammates. That's what leadership is all about. It's about being accountable, making the right choices, and leading by example, especially when it's not easy. Looking at the bigger picture, this situation with Garrett is a litmus test for the Browns organization. It's a moment where they can reinforce the standards they want to set for their players. They've already shown they're willing to pay him big money, which means they believe in his talent and his potential to be a franchise cornerstone. But talent without discipline and leadership is incomplete. The Browns need Garrett to be a player who not only leads by example on the field, but also demonstrates maturity and responsibility off it. That means addressing issues head-on, taking responsibility, and showing that he's committed to being a better leader. And it's not just about Garrett, it's about the entire team culture. The Browns have a roster filled with talented guys who want to win, and they have a coaching staff that's committed to building a winning environment. But that environment starts at the top, in the locker room and with the leadership. If Garrett can grow into that role, it will elevate the team as a whole. If he continues to sidestep questions about his off-field incidents, it could cause distractions, undermine team unity, and potentially derail their season. That's why it's so crucial for him to understand that being a leader isn't just about sack numbers. It's about earning trust and respect both with his actions and his words. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the bigger picture for the Browns this season. The team is loaded with talent, especially on offense, with players like Deshaun Watson leading the charge. Watson has shown flashes of brilliance, and if he can find consistency, he could be the catalyst for a deep playoff run. The defense, with Garrett leading the pass rush, is also expected to be among the best in the league. But again, all of this hinges on team chemistry, maturity, and leadership. The Browns have a real shot at something special, but they need their stars to set the tone both on and off the field. As fans, we're all hoping that Garrett can step up and embrace his role as a leader. That he'll realize that his influence extends beyond just sacking quarterbacks and making plays. Leadership is about accountability, integrity, and setting an example for the younger guys coming into the league. The Browns have a rich history of overcoming adversity and building something special, and Garrett could be a huge part of that if he chooses to accept it. Because at the end of the day, talent is just part of the equation. The real difference makers are those who can elevate the entire team with their attitude, work ethic, and leadership qualities. So, as we watch the Browns this season, keep an eye on Garrett's development, not just as a pass rusher but as a leader. This could be the season where he proves the doubters wrong, not only with his sack numbers, but also with his maturity and commitment to the team's success. The AFC North is a tough division, packed with talented teams, but the Browns have a real shot if they can get the right chemistry and leadership from their key players. Yes, talent is there, but it's the intangibles, like accountability and resilience, that will ultimately determine how far they go. And finally, I want to remind you all that this team has the potential to make history. Cleveland fans are passionate, loyal, and hungry for success. The city deserves a team that not only plays hard, but also exemplifies integrity and leadership. Garrett has the talent to be a cornerstone of this franchise for years to come, but he needs to take that next step. The Browns are counting on him, and so are we. Let's see how he responds to the challenges ahead. Will he rise to the occasion, or will these off-field issues continue to cast a shadow? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. This season, everything is on the line. The Browns have the pieces, the talent, and the fan support. Now all they need is that extra bit of leadership to truly elevate this team to the next level. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And so, Cleveland Browns fans, what's your take on all this? Do you believe Garrett can turn things around and become the leader this team needs? Or do you think these off-field issues might hold him back? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion really matters to us and to the future of this team. We love engaging with you, and I want to hear your predictions for how the Browns will perform this season. Will they finally break through and make a real Super Bowl run? Or will these distractions continue to linger? Either way, I'll be back soon with more updates, more analysis, and all the latest news you need to stay ahead of the game. So stay tuned, Browns fans, because this season is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory. The passion in Cleveland runs deep, and we're all in this together. Let's see what the future holds for this incredible team, and remember, no matter what happens, we're proud of the journey, the effort, and the relentless spirit of our Browns. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, go Browns.